Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, July 18th, 2011, in Council Chambers at 2 p.m. First item of business would be the adoption of some minutes, Committee of the Whole minutes from July the 4th, and regular open minutes from July the 4th. Was there any errors, omissions, comments? Hearing none, we will adopt those by consensus. There is a introduction of a late item, and this would be the Regional District Okanagan-Similkameen Solid Waste Management Plan. It'll come up as business item number 6. So I would take a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Rhodes Chadsey, any comments? Adopted by consensus. And bringing us to the first item of business, delegations. We have Mr. Richard Tessier, Friends of Desert Park Society, to share his concerns and the Society's concerns related to Desert Park. Mr. Tessier.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Can you hear me? Some of you I know and have met, some I haven't. Greetings to all. We are a non-profit society. We originally formed as the Osoyoos Park Society because the Desert Park Exhibition Society was still in existence as far as the government was concerned. But we've been recognized by the provincial government since August of 2005. And we did change our name when we figured out how the government worked that program. All we did was add friends to the front of the name and through like that. So our constitutional purposes are to maintain the variety of activities that have occurred at Desert Park over many years, and to develop new activities that are compatible with the park's history, to preserve and maintain the heritage and desert environment, and to enter into agreements and contracts with public and private entities that are fiscally sound. Other than that, we had nothing as a direction or a mission. That is our mission. There are a few of us, and I say a few now because at one time I had 500 anxious people. That's back in 2005. But there are a few of us that are still tenaciously holding on to the belief that we must do all that we can to have our historical equestrian center continue its purpose. I just left Sharon Piazza in the post office. And Walter Cook, the engineer, not real estate agent, and Johnny, who passed away last week, or 10 days ago, came down off the highway project they were working on and laid out that track. They are going to have a memorial at the Elks Hall for Johnny. I believe it's coming up in about a week. I know it'll be published. I'm here to express the concerns of many. Some of them are our members, some are directors, and others that we haven't even heard of in our region that don't understand the whys of what has happened. It seems that the attitude one takes towards achieving anything is tantamount to outcome. To this concern, we wonder why there is no mention of equestrian activities existing, let alone being advertised in any of the town's departments or publications. The latest 2010 Annual Report Summary references the park as an issue rather than an economic development project. Now, some could say we're just playing with semantics, but when you're on this end of it and you see the project you put 7 years into referred to as an issue rather than an ongoing project, it's a concern. The Recreation and Leisure Service Director has, by his own admission, a white elephant. He didn't say white elephant to me, but he figured as recreational property, and it's under his direction now. It would be great if it was all just green space, and he didn't have to contend with the buildings that haven't been maintained for many years now. He was hired, and so justifiably so, he has to promote the new facilities that he was hired to focus on. We have concerns that the equestrian facilities and grandstand, so needed to have any kind of successful events, continue to deteriorate rather than be maintained. There have been many concerns raised over many years, and we bring the few we have mentioned to your attention. We appreciate and understand the current business and lease with CIREC must be resolved between the two of you. We have, for that reason, over the last 2 years, stayed away from any form of expression of our role in Desert Park. But most of you, including the CAO, have been totally aware that we existed and what our purposes were. We may have different points of view, and I know we do, on most things, but we all have to work towards better ways to govern ourselves, striving to be fair and equal in all ways for the good of all. We leave you with many concerns and hope and pray for your success. If you have any questions or any comments, I'll be glad to answer the question.
Thanks, Mr. Tessier. And I'd just like to say that on behalf of council that we have the same outcome. And I guess it's just going to be to get down the road and get to that end maybe a little bit quicker than we have. But the outcome is you have the same outcome that council has. We would like to see that successful. So hopefully we can move towards that. And again, we're in dialogue. As you are aware, we're still in dialogue with CIREC. And hopefully that's going to lead towards some successes and bringing your wants and goals and wishes to Osoyoos. I'll open this up to council if they have any questions or any statements. Please feel free. Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think I have a question, but I certainly want to thank Richard for coming and to say that certainly personally, and I believe I speak for council too, that we do feel that the last couple of years have been wonderful for Desert Park, that it has come back from the brink, and through the hard work of the members of CIREC and others that have contributed to that. And I think perhaps we have been a bit remiss in not identifying it as being a facility that is there and that people could use for equestrian training. And I know they were doing some riding lessons for young people and as well as boarding things. So, we've been pulled in a number of directions, and I think we're very hopeful at this point that we are going to have it back on the road in the very near future.
Well, we hope so too. And we did have mention a director of Destination Osoyoos actually request last week. Would it be okay if I present to my directorship my concerns as to Desert Park not proceeding with CIREC the way it has the last years, because it's been tremendously good to the hotel, motel industry. I leave you, gentlemen. I hope that we resolve it real soon. Smiling faces in the winning circle one day.
Thank you, Mr. Tessier. Next item of business is some water matters. We have accounts payable in the amount of $26,760.66. Councilor Marrera, Councilor Laranjo, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That has been passed. Under correspondence, there's about 4 items that I hope I can lump together and make a motion to receive. And there's a couple of other ones there that are going to take different treatment. So under correspondence 1, the monthly report from the Okanagan Basin Water Board. And item 2, letter from Mike Furey, Assistant Deputy Minister, Minister of Community Sport and Cultural Development, denying a funding request for the Osoyoos Pathway Sidewalk Development Rehabilitation Program made under the Towns for Tomorrow grant program. This was receipt of confirmation that we did not get the money. Item 4, a letter from Dr. Stephen Evans, MD, President of the Medical Staff at Oliver Family Health Clinic, thanking Council for their support at the recent meeting with Minister de Jong in Vancouver. So that was just a letter thanking Council. Under item 5, a letter from June Parsons, President of the BC Seniors Game Society, confirming receipt of the town bid to host the 2013 and/or 2014 BC Senior Games. We applied in conjunction with Oliver, and both regional district areas A and C put in a combined application, and they have received that, and I believe the results of that application will be known fairly soon. I'm not sure exactly when that is, but I think sometimes in August we'll have a reply for that. So I'd be looking at a motion to receive those 4 letter items for Council. Councillor Cronmiller Ryan, any discussion on that? Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I would group them together, but I would like to make the request, Mr. Mayor, that you speak to a couple of the issues in the Water Board newsletter in your report, if you would.
Okay.
Kindly.
Okay. You'll have to ask me the issues.
Okay. Well, I think the milfoil control would be one, and I think possibly the lakeshore mapping.
Okay. Okay. Certainly. Well, the
you can save that for the end if you like.
Okay.
Wherever you want to do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it now. Okay. So the lakeshore mapping was the town of Osoyoos applied for the small grant program with Okanagan Basin Water Board, and what happened is they came to town. It was a consulting group came to town and started doing all the foreshore mapping so that we know what's happening with the trees and the bush and the riparian area all around the lake. So if there are changes, this would give us the base block to start building from. So there's areas there, and it's been a riparian area forever. All of a sudden, someone buys it, and trees start missing or disappearing. We're going to have that baseline where we can go out there and say, "Whoa, you shouldn't be doing that." This is there's riparian legislation in the province of BC, so it's going to allow us to really get a handle on the lake and where it is, and hopefully where it's going to go, and we'll be able to use that for some information that we are gathering and garnering on milfoil control and situations like that. So that was very good, and it was Okanagan Lake is basically all done, a lake of that size, and we have the smaller Osoyoos Lake, and we really didn't have anything on file. So this will be a bit of an ongoing process to get that going. And the second item that you were looking for some input on was the United States of America, Washington State, is going to chemical control a milfoil in Osoyoos Lake right below the border. And as chair of the Okanagan Basin Water Board, I sent a letter on behalf of the Okanagan Basin Water Board stating that we didn't approve of what their actions were. We're dealing with a different government. It's a little bit of a sensitive issue. We do share the lake. It's under the control of the IJC, but we certainly wouldn't be putting chemicals in there to control milfoil. We use both the rototilling program and the harvesting program, and the actual map is right here, and up the top is the American border. This area here, 1,340 feet from the border, and as the province of BC is moving into cosmetic pesticide control and banning, here we are, the province is making this big step forward. We're looking at it on a local basis, and here we have our neighbors that are going to put chemicals in there to try to control milfoil at 1,300 feet below the border, and water swirls around in that. And we just don't think that that's the right method to take and the right process to take. And the product, I've got the chemical right up on the product here. If anybody was interested, they can have a look and see. It'll come up under Renovate 3 on probably an EPA website. So that was a part of that report also. Now, hearing all in favor, that has been received. Thank you. So that brings us up to Correspondence 3, letter from Premier Christy Clark in response to the town's letter regarding accommodation for seasonal workers near Osoyoos. What are council's wishes? Just a motion to receive? Okay. Councillor Chadsey, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And that brings us to letters 6 and 7, and they're both similar, coming from two different sources. Letter 6 from Sylvia MacLeay, President, Council of Senior Citizens Organizations of BC, requesting council's support of the elimination of MSP premiums for seniors. And this would be going to the UBCM. And another letter from Douglas Edgar, President of BC's Retired Teachers Association, requesting council's support of the elimination of MSP premiums for seniors, and also heading to UBCM. What are council's wishes? Are we supporting this, or taking it forward, or just voting on it down there? Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I think I would vote, or I would move that we receive and take note of it in terms of our presence at the UBCM.
Okay, thank you. And the seconder, please. Councillor Cronmiller. Any further discussion? Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it too late to send a letter to SILGA asking them if they could support it through our local organization?
Yeah, we're
too late.
I would think it would.
Okay.
And it came out late.
Mm-hmm.
It came to us late. This wasn't on the table back in February. This just coming
Absolutely.
around now. But I think it'll have fairly big support at. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Under bylaws, Municipal Ticket Information Bylaw 1279, 2011, for first three readings. Report from Mr. Remenko.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Reporting in the absence and vacationing Director of Corporate Services. In the business plan, we identified the need to review fines for bylaws that are enforceable through the under the Municipal Ticket Information Bylaw. Our Director of Corporate Services reviewed all the fines, went through a number of different bylaws from other communities, and has presented a list of a new list of fines for offensive by bylaw. The maximum fine level allowable under legislation is $1,000. In creating the MTI bylaw number 1279/2011 fines, like I said, several municipalities were reviewed. In some cases, our current fines were compatible, and in some cases, there was a need to bring them in line, to raise them to bring them in line. Also, in terms of assessing fines, consideration was made as to staff time and labor in remedying the offense, especially in regard to water, sewer, and park infractions. Schedule 1 of the bylaw addresses the bylaws being covered and those persons who will be authorized to issue tickets under the bylaw. Schedule 2 identifies 24 individual bylaws being covered, showing the infractions section of the bylaw and the fine assessed. And there's 24 bylaws listed here. Council will notice 2 differences from the bylaw presented at the July 4th Committee of the Whole meeting. The first difference is the new soil deposit and removal bylaw has been added to the schedules, and a discounted fine has also been added if tickets are paid within 30 days. This discounted fine is permitted under Section 265(2) of the Community Charter and is implemented. And by implementing this approach, staff time may be saved, as the incentive is there to pay early, and staff will not have to follow up on many of these tickets. Very few municipalities have implemented this discount, as the legislation is quite new. However, the City of Vernon has, and their discounts range anywhere between 0 and 20%. The Motor Vehicle Act speeding tickets provide for a straight $25 discount if tickets are paid early, where range is anywhere between 10 and 20% discount. Staff have reviewed the fines and where appropriate to allow for discount, have discounted fines within 10 or 20%. Some fines were not discounted due to the severity of the infraction. In terms of the options being presented to Council, the options are to read bylaw number 1279/2011 for the first 3 times, or return the bylaw to staff for additional review. And we're recommending that the bylaw be read for the first 3 times.
Great. May we have that motion, please? Councillor Cronmiller, Ryan, discussion. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just noted one thing that I just wanted to query, and it's in Schedule 2 of the bylaw, and it's referring to Section 9.2 of the Building Code bylaw, and it says there's a fine for occupying with an occupancy permit, and I think that means it should read without.
We can check on that.
And the other thing I would like to say is I had a question from a resident about the $10,000 fine that was possible in our water conservation bylaw, and earlier I had been advised that that is permitted under one piece of legislation if there is a failure to pay the other fine. So it's a kind of a second level of appeal, as I understand it. And so as was mentioned in the report, this is $1,000 is the most that can happen here. And so there was a little bit of alarm that someone might be fined $10,000 for watering their lawn at the wrong time. So I assured them personally, but I just want to publicly state that you won't incur that unless you ignore other warnings and fines that you're assessed, I guess.
Well, at the time that the information was put out relative to the new water conservation bylaw, the MTI bylaw was not in place, so we had to fall back on what is existing legislation. And off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the legislation. Under the Offense Act, allows for the municipality to fine to a maximum of $10,000. But again, that is determined through the court process, and that particular piece of legislation is only used in the most dire of circumstances. So, no, we wouldn't. And for the ordinary act of too much watering of your lawn, it wouldn't happen. But there is a fine now, or there will be a fine once the MTI bylaw is passed.
Council, any other comments? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? First 3 readings. If the public's out there, they have any concerns, should get back to council before it's adopted.
That's right.
Okay, moving into the business part of the meeting, we're happily awarding a painting contract at the Sonora Community Center. Mr. Davis is away, so that must be you, Mr. Bain.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Staff prepared a document to obtain quotes from exterior painting of the Sonora Community Center. The bids were received were quotes and no legal obligation to move forward if council feels there is no need for this project to proceed at this time. This is an approved budget item in our capital budget. Staff advertised the exterior painting of the Sonora Community Center on BC Bid, the Town of Osoyoos website, and also in a local newspaper. The capital budget approved for this project was $80,000. Prior to deadline submission, staff held a mandatory site meeting June 28th. The meeting was attended by 10 contractors, and at least 4 of these contractors are from the local area. The deadline for getting the submission delivered was July 6th. There were 4 quotes received, ranging from $50,000 plus HST to $103,450 plus HST. And in terms of the options being presented to council, the options are to approve the quoted price from A-Wall Repair and Painting at a price of $51,179 plus HST. The second option for council to approve the lowest quoted price at A Painting Limited for a price of $50,000 plus HST. Third option is for council to approve another quoted price, and fourth for council not to approve any quotes at this time. Just to provide for some additional information that was requested from council this morning, I've looked through the quote package, and although there was not a specific request for references, some of the bidders did provide references. The second lowest bidder did not provide the reference. There is a reference within the quote package that all staff on site must be experienced and professional painters as to be accepted on the job site. So if indeed the council wants to proceed, another option could be that for example, with A-Wall Repair and Painting, that a bid could, or the quote could be allowed, subject to submission of references, if that's what council would like.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. MacLeay. Thanks for getting that other information from the committee of the whole meeting. And it was one of council's concerns, because the reason we're painting that building again is because we didn't get the job that should have got the first time around. It's all flaking and chipped, and it's just a real mess at the back of the building. So, having said that, I'll look for a resolution motion from council. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to move option 1 with that additional wording added on to the end of it, to contingent on providing some sound references.
Okay. So this would be to approve the second lowest bid at a price of $51,179 plus HST, subject to past performance.
Subject to the submission of references.
Submission of reference. Okay. And Councillor Chadsey as the seconder. Further discussion from council? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick word about the selection process, and how nice is this that we're looking at awarding this to a local business. I want to make the point that it's important to shop local. This is an opportunity. Your municipality is shopping locally in this regard. And, these individuals live in our community, they shop in our stores, eat in our restaurants, and they pay taxes here. And I'd like to point out that none of the other businesses that provided quotes are not in that same category. So this is a feel-good situation where we can award it to, a valuable part of our business community.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. We're now looking at this is one part of the job of being on council that I've never been that excited about, and these are people that are appealing their taxes. It comes up every year. I just don't know how we can. Been on council, I guess this would be my 6th year of watching people in arrears, and I feel sorry for them. They are in arrears. There's always a reason why they are in arrears, I don't mean to presuppose this, but in the previous 5 years, nobody has ever been waived from the penalty component. So we have our Director of Finance, Mr. Zackel, here to lead us through a couple of these appeals. Mr. Zackel, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So the first report that we've got is for a property owned by the Austins, and they've made a request to council to waive property taxes. Just some brief history. Our property tax bylaw that was established under Section 234 of the Community Charter uses the general tax collection scheme, and which was July 4th of this year. This bylaw also establishes that a 10% penalty is applied to all unpaid taxes of the current year if the amount or any portion thereof remains outstanding at the end of the due date. The circumstances for this property owner was that he came in at 8:52 a.m. the day after the property tax due date to pay his taxes, and he's asked council to consider waiving that penalty. And it's up to council's decision if they wish to go against the bylaw.
Okay, council, please. Councilor Ryan.
Well, I know I didn't pull out my notice of tax, but I know that there are a number of things on that notice, and one of them is that you can pay any time, including now we have a new program of paying monthly, I think. You can pay in person, you can post-date your check and bring it in whenever you want, or send it in whenever you want. And you can also pay using your the internet with your virtual bank. So I would, with sympathy, move that we deny this request.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councilor Cronmiller. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Unfortunately, that was denied. And there is also a second appeal out here, $205.60 on folio 00753.000. Mr. Zackel, please.
That's correct, Mayor Wells. It's again for the Nyhold property. They too are requesting that this penalty be reversed. The rationale is they've got they're out doing charity work outside of town right now, but there again, unfortunately, the rules and regulations of the property tax bylaw are fairly clear as far as what the due date is. As well, the taxes went out on the 3rd week into May for the property owners to have the opportunity to have it paid.
Council's wishes. Chadsey. Councilor Rhodes. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That was the motion to. Thanks, Mr. Zackel. And then an update on the property tax. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. So just wanted to report to council on the status of property tax collection for 2011. The due date, of course, was July 4th of 2011, which is now come and gone. We wish to thank our staff for the professional, courteous customer service provided to our taxpayers for the town of Osoyoos. We collected 93.7% of the property taxes up to the July 4th due date. That compares to 93.71% in 2010, 93.25 in 2009, and 93.09 in 2008. There were approximately $63,000 in penalties that have been applied to the outstanding current taxes. In addition to that, we had offered this year the opportunity for our property tax owners to prepay their next year's taxes under what we called the pre-authorized property tax payment plan. A total of 153 property owners relating to 152 properties completed the application to prepay their 2012 taxes in 10 equal installments prior to the July 4th deadline. Subsequent to that, I've got another 15 that have made applications, so they'll be added to that process. So this, again, is a continued effort to try to improve community service for our property tax owners, organizationally to ensure funding is in place for operations of the municipality to continue. From a budget perspective, it allows us to see that revenue flow come in a little bit earlier, which just takes the burden off of keeping up with the operating costs. So this is just for council for information purposes and doesn't warrant any resolution. I also want to update council as to the next step to improve property tax collection. We're looking into trying to move our community forward, and we'll bring it forward to the budgeting process, but that's to get the ability to go online on our website to claim their homeowner grants, look at their outstanding property taxes, give the property owners that additional ability. In addition, we're also going to improve our property taxes and water district notices so that they can pay them as a property or as a bill at their local financial institutions, no different than a Fortis bill or something of that nature. So that encoding, we're working on getting that process taken care of. So a couple more improvements planned for next year, just to make everybody's process a little bit easier when they're paying their property taxes.
I could get excited about that. It'd really be nice to have 100% compliance where somebody wasn't coming for a penalty. That would be, we'd have to phone up Frank Zanfleet and have another fireworks display.
Yep.
Sorry, Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, I just want to congratulate our staff for coming up with this. We've obviously got a hardcore here of 7% or so, 6%. But you know, I think as we have more people who are seasonal residents in town, we really need these kinds of ways in which they can pay their bills and pay their taxes and so on more easily. And the other thing I think is that we need to promote these throughout the year. I don't think, you know, putting them on just on the tax notice is perhaps enough. I think we should be encouraging more people to pay as people do often their you know, even their hydro bills where they have equal payment throughout the year, or their gas bills or whatever. So I'd like to say congratulations, but also let's promote these methods of payment in whatever way we can, as often as we can.
Thank you. And Mr. Zackel, I was surprised that many people took advantage. We're talking 165 people going on to that monthly program.
Yep.
Did you think it would be that high? You
From
probably had inside information.
From previous discussions with other colleagues that have set this up, that was about the right number.
Okay.
And I do believe that we'll still have some more trickling in. And as this process goes, word of mouth, I believe that we'll probably be up into the neighborhood of about 400 or 500
Wow.
property owners that are going to take advantage of this. It takes the burden off of having to come up with that money all at one time. So it gives them the ability to have it set up so it's seamless, it comes out of their account.
Meeting budget and things like that for their
Correct.
own personal budgets.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely. Yeah, sounds great program. Council, motion to receive. Rhodes, Chadsey, all in favor. Been received. Thanks a lot, Mr. Zackel. And we'll go to the next item, which is item 5, report from Mr. Remanko on the town sign, Highway 97 North.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. The twinning of Highway 97 north of town has compromised the visibility of the town of Osoyoos sign by the newly created rest stop. I met with the highway contractor on site to discuss options related to retaining the site in the current location or moving it to a more visible location. Moving the sign to the most northern point of the current area would increase visibility significantly. The contractor explained that he would require an estimate from a sign mover and a landscaper to take the transportation for approval. The Osoyoos signs informed me that significant work must be involved in moving the sign and that he would seek out more detail that would be a part of a verbal report that I could provide today. Unfortunately, I haven't got the estimates as yet in terms of what it's going to take. All I know is they've got to take the sign apart. It has to be a new internal structure has to be created for it. So it's quite an elaborate process to move it. Also, I haven't had an opportunity, but I would be getting estimates for redoing the landscaping as well that's in and around it. One of the concerns that we have is that if we don't move the sign now, the way signs are growing like mushrooms in that area, somebody might put signs in front of our sign, which would make it almost impossible to see. So, and also I suspect that if we don't move the sign now, transportation would not consider paying for it at a later date. So that's what's being brought to council now is the option being presented is to inform the transportation that council approves the current location of the sign, and the second option is to inform transportation that council wants the sign moved to a more visible location, and that transportation pay the entire cost for moving the sign and the landscaping as well. And we're recommending the second option. But again, we must consider that we don't know what the cost would be, and it could very well be that transportation would only pay a portion of that move. So then we may be forced with coming back with some type of option of paying a partial move on it if we want it moved.
Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move option number 2.
Councillor Cronmiller. Discussion. Or mover seconder. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the sign as it sits right now is almost invisible. I wanted to make that point in case anybody hasn't noticed it. You drive by there, and if you don't look directly up in the air, you don't see it anymore. So it's totally ineffective. A lot of time, effort, a lot of cost went into erecting that thing there, along with the landscaping that was attached to it as well. It was kind of a nice introduction to our town. It looked good. Got to say, it looked a lot better than most of the signs in that area. However, don't take that as a criticism. Could be, construed as being part of that. I'm surprised that it was not involved in the original budgeting, so I'm speaking in favor of the motion. I think that it should be moved to a very visible place along with the landscaping, and I think our transportation department needs to pay that entire cost from it.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Councillor Chahedzi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to support the motion. I am bothered by the amount of signs that are along the new highway. I think we were told that there would be no signs, and I'm noticing already that there are business signs. Also, where our sign is now, it is invisible, and it's also blocked by what I also believe to be illegal signs based on the ministry's own regulations. So I would hope that along with the letter informing transportation of our desire to have another sign location, that we remind them of the signs that are starting to pop up. And also by going to option number 2, if it turns out that we cannot relocate our sign, we've still reserved the site, and some type of signage can go there.
Thank you. Anything further? I think that's a delicate line talking about other signs, because I know you can probably put in a request to the Ministry of Transportation, but they're going to take everything down. Be quite a naked-looking highway out there, I think, if all the signs came down. But it'd certainly be a very, very controversial move. We have to have a bit of caution there. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to ask about the location. I don't know how that current location was chosen, but you're suggesting, Mr. Romenko, that we go up to the turn by the little, is that Dead Man's Lake?
No, I'm suggesting we stay where we are, but we just move it.
Just come
Just
down
move it
where can
north,
be seen.
right to the tip of the high area there. So although it's quite high, it would be quite outstanding, I think, really, because it is a fairly large sign and it would be very visible if you move it just forward. Other than that, I don't know that there's any location that would not be on private property that would accommodate that particular signage.
Anything further? We have a motion on the floor to move the sign, and that the cost should be the responsibility of the ministry. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. See how successful we are with that. The next item is some cash requirements.
The additional item?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, it's right here written in front of me in great big letters, too. Item number 6, Regional District Okanagan-Similkameen, their waste management plan. This has been out there for a long time. So, Mr. Romenko, you have that report.
It's a very long plan, or a lot of pages.
It is. I've got some, I'll start. There's some background here attached. Please find the letter that outlines the public consultation strategy that went into developing this document. I was a member of the Technical Advisory Committee, and Councillor Rhodes was a member of the Steering Committee. So, Mr. Romenko.
Hey, thank you, Mayor Wells. Yes, we have in front of us what is maybe the final solid waste management plan for the regional district. It relates to us kind of indirectly because we do manage our own landfill here, unlike many other communities within the regional district. But the plan presents a very strong outline of how the regional district would like to proceed in terms of the solid waste management over the next 30 years. It identifies some very key goals that it would like to achieve in terms of decreasing the amounts of compostables that go into landfills, and also from our perspective, it enables us to tie into various types of programs that may be offering. This particular plan has gone through a number of public consultations over the last year, including, as mentioned, the public, technical, and political steering committees, which guided the processes, 2 public surveys, also presentations to all the 6 regional district municipal councils, and 7 public open houses, including 1 in Osoyoos. So it's gone through extensive consultation process. It's quite comprehensive, and we're suggesting that it should be accepted as a document for approval by the town council.
Thank you. Council, do we have resolution? Rhodes?
Also move.
Okay. And Councillor Ryan, discussion, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I had the good fortune to be part of the steering committee on this document, and I've been following it quite closely, and often get asked the question of why we would be involved in a project like this when we in fact own our own landfill, and just as a sidebar, a successful landfill both financially and in the way that it's operated. And, you know, there's always a bigger picture, and a lot of the projects that are being developed through this report are bigger than Osoyoos, and one of them would be is the collection of food waste in our community and that type of thing. You know, at the end of the day, we're a small community. It's hard to take projects on like that, and these kind of documents and these studies really help advance those kinds of things in our community. And you know, the other thing is the report is full of all kinds of statistics, and you know, a lot of people are just not interested in garbage, but you know, at the end of the day, solid waste is what's left over after we live our lives, and it's important that we deal with it in a good, solid way that is beneficial to our environment and so many other factors. And how you get there with that is by compiling statistics. And you know, a lot of the people that develop this report are the people that do garbage audits. You know, they go and climb around in the dumpsters in our community and have a look at what's in there. You know, as you know, as terrible as that may sound, there's really no other way of evaluating it. They go out, they look, they study, and then at the end of the day, we get this report. So, to me, to accept this and move forward and support it is a total no-brainer for me. I mean, I could never understand any opposition to it at all. So, yeah, that would be me speaking in favor of this motion.
Great. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I'm, I guess, sitting at this council table, I've sort of caught some of the passion that Councillor Rhodes has for garbage. And so I certainly see this as a great leap forward. And there are three things that I'm really happy about this and really glad that we will be supporting it. And I certainly will personally support it. And that is the mandatory collection of recycled materials from industrial, commercial, and institutional clients. And that's going to happen in 2013. The other is that there is a plan for a regional compost facility, and so that means that we can take this 40% of the organic waste that is put into landfills right now, and use most of that to make compost. We're making compost right now, and we have a project out to increase the size of our pad, but we're using basically some of the waste from our water treatment plant, and also from yard waste and so on. But this would increase the volume of materials that are going to be composted. And the third thing is that next year it calls for a landfill gas generation assessment of various landfills throughout the district. And I think that's wonderful. That's a very innovative sort of alternate source of energy. And while it does have to be, I understand that at least the current technology requires that the landfill be capped. But I'm sure that soon they'll be developing ways in which you can extract the gas from it without having to have completed its life cycle. So I'm very happy to support this, and I hope that it will not only succeed, but that even some areas of it, such as the collection of organic materials, might even be accelerated.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Any further discussion? Councillor Cronmiller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment as I was listening, excuse me, when I was in Halifax at the FCM convention, I may have mentioned this before, but I had a tour of facilities and saw their composting facility and what it all entails for a city the size of Halifax. Something I don't think we could do in the town of Osoyoos. However, in the regional district of the South Okanagan, this gives us opportunities. And through this plan begins those sorts of processes to provide facilities such as they have in a big city to dispose of this and use these composting situations and disposing of our food waste. So I'm really pleased to see this plan emerge, and congratulations to the people that worked on it. Constable Rhodes, I know he certainly diligent and interested in all of these environmental issues. So it's great to see it happen, and I look forward to supporting it in the future.
Great, thank you, Councillor Cronmiller. We gave Councillor Rhodes a raise. He's not a constable anymore.
Yeah, that's
You haven't said it for a long time. Thanks, Councillor Cronmiller. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And now we're into paying some bills time. We need some cash requirements in the general accounts in the amount of $2,184,061.56, and the arena account in the amount of $1,923.12, and the payroll accounts in the amount of $66,115.49. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, adopted by consensus. The building permit report for the month of June 2011. There was, I'm actually quite excited. There was a single-family dwelling and an attached garage that was built at a price of $450,000. We certainly haven't seen much new construction in the last year or so. So the report, the total for the month, there's some garages and some repairs. In addition, deck and garage. The total for the month is $633,000. Total to date, $1,600,000, and the total to date for the year 2010 was $2,200,000. So we're still quite a bit shy of where we were when we were in the heydays of construction in Osoyoos. Looking for a motion to receive, please, Councillor Chad Z. Rhodes. Any discussion? Adopted by consensus. And bringing us to the building permit, bringing us to the bylaw enforcement report, Mr. Romanko.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. This report has been provided to us by our contractor, just kind of a 2011 update summary, and he's divided it into some, I guess what we call some very key areas that are quite popular in terms of bylaw infractions. The first one being unsightly premises. Unsightly premises complaints are investigated on an ongoing basis. Owners have been sent friendly reminders to keep their property free of debris. Bylaw currently is working on 34 properties, which will have a completion or cleanup order before July 29th. 15 properties have been inspected 3 times and either sent a cleanup or compliance was met, bringing the total number of properties inspected to 49 since May 1st. The bylaw is currently on track to either meet or exceed unsightly premise inspections of 2010. There will be a new blitz, so we'll start at the beginning of August, with letters being sent to owners in contraventions of the unsightly premises bylaw. Animal control. Bylaw enforcement has received complaints regarding feral cat nests where the officers are required to deploy the live traps. Following is the number of cats and dogs caught and retained within the municipality May 1st to present. Cats 12 and dogs 10. Traffic control. Enforcement has been busy with trailers and some off-street parking issues since May 1st. Total tickets handed out for this period totaled 52. 19 verbal warnings were given out to tourists unaware of the boat trailer laws within the municipality. Boat trailer enforcement summary. Since the implementation of the second field, enforcement has had an easier time compelling compliance with the boat trailer parking bylaws. Parks enforcement. Parks attendants have been asked to keep a record of how many infractions take place on any given shift. The particular infractions most prevalent in the parks, in particular Gyro Park, dog in park / off leash, traffic infractions, smoking, alcohol-related offenses. Number of offenses on an average shift, 6 hours in June, where an officer is required to speak to an offender. Traffic 5, dogs 11, alcohol 9, smoking in a park 12. Total offenses in a shift for 37.
Thank you. Motion to receive, Councillor Cronmiller Rhodes. Any discussion? That will be adopted by. Going to committee reports. There's some draft minutes here from the May 6th. Would they still be draft? Question. Okay, I see. Okay, thank you. Draft minutes from the May 6th Lake Recreational Commercial Use Task Force meeting. Any discussion on that? Motion to receive, please. Councillor Cronmiller, who chairs that committee, seconded by Councillor Rhodes. Any discussion on any of that happened, Councillor Cronmiller?
No, I think it's ongoing. We're waiting for a final report draft that our planning department's putting together on this, and hopefully that'll be in the near future. And we'll go meet and discuss that and approve that. And we should be back to council. Final report.
So then you'd be going public with that, taking that to the public, and that's one meeting you would, yeah, just one. I would take it. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussions on that? Motion to receive, Councillor Chadsey. Ryan. But I had Councillor Cronmiller already.
Oh, okay. I was blocking your view of him.
So I guess if we're hearing no further discussion, it will be adopted by consent. Thank you. And committee report, a report from the CAO.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just some highlights of some of the work that's being done in the administration and operation services. Starting in community development, they've been working on getting the integrated community sustainability plan out to the public for its review, and this particular document is available at the library, the town office, and also on our website. So we're encouraging people to take a look at it over the summer and bring back their comments for the committee prior or into early September. Certainly an important plan that's going to assist in the future development of the community. He's been also working with the ministry responsible for the Resort Municipality Program, getting our 2011 project approval and funding so that we can pay some bills on various projects that we're into. He's working on pulling together a 2012 host package bid for the North Pacific Economic Development Council conference here next year. So he's hoping that he can bring that conference to our community, and also working with a local group wanting to develop a water festival for the end of summer of 2012. Of note, three meetings that he's had that are quite important. Met with two small businesses on relocating to Osoyoos, and met with one small business wanting to expand their business currently. That's quite encouraging. Corporate services, bylaw enforcement always takes the front and center with corporate services, and I think just the report that we heard from our contractor on bylaw enforcement notes to the amount of activity, and with that activity also comes very much of amount of follow-up by our corporate services department. Complaints are on the increase relative to animal control, park, transient, and sightly properties. Also, there's been various preparations going on for election periods as well. That's taking front and center, as well as some human resource issues. Planning and Development met with the Agricultural Committee to discuss the first draft of the Joint Area A and Town Agricultural Plan, which focuses on land use issues. And on July 8th, the Waterfront Steering Committee met and discussed washroom projects, new parking areas, walkway extensions, and upgrading of Lower Spartan Drive. Also, there's been a certain amount of work being focused on supervising over the Marina project. Public Works, it seems that we're just having no luck with our beach cleaner this year. It was out due to breakdown, and we finally got the part, and they got Gyro Beach done, and part of the area where the volleyball they play volleyball, but then it broke down again. So waiting for an update on that. And then also of note is that we've moved to weekend coverage for parks maintenance to assist with some of the cleanliness issues that address our community. So our thanks to the parks people for changing some of their summer activities and to change their shift schedules that way. Recreation, the Sun Bowl Arena started ice operations on July 10th. Busy with ice rentals, one of the busiest seasons in a long time. Over in the Summer Fun program, they had over 40 kids the first week, with 15 of them from out of town. And to date, they have about 23 out-of-town children who are registered for 2 or more weeks. So, as well as playing host to maybe some local residents' grandchildren, I think we're picking up people who come to town and feel that this is an appropriate activity for their kids so they can do other things. And also the official delivery date of the new bus, community bus, is pegged for July 29th. In terms of my activities, a couple of things I've been focusing on are many to do with human resources. We're in the process of redoing many job descriptions within the organization, and also reviewing the organizational review and some of the impacts that would be brought forward into 2012, and also the Marina project and Northwest Sewer has taken some of my times as well. So thank you,
Great.
Council.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Romanko. Motion to receive. Councilor Rhodes Chadsey. Any discussion? That will by. And that brings us to councillor reports. Looks like ladies first. Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have anything. I just want to remind people that the street dance, Home Hardware 25th anniversary street dance, is here on this coming Saturday, July 25th, and also again, I believe it's August 12th. So just a big congratulations to Frances and all her staff for 25 years of phenomenal entertainment and commitment. And the other thing I just wanted to say was there's a bluegrass festival in up at Desert Park the weekend of August 5th and 6th. So just head on up there and just sit down and listen to some great music. And it's nice to see the marina open, the dam removed, I should say. So take a walk down there and have a look, and that's my report.
Thanks, Councillor Chadsey. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we're in the midst of our tour season right now, and I think we're doing pretty darn good when you compare it to a lot of other communities in British Columbia that are just suffering from torrential rainfalls and all kinds of cold and nasty weather everywhere. So we're pretty lucky here. It's not what we normally get every year, but it's still pretty darn good. So I've been out kind of moving around a little bit. I went down on the weekend and counted the boat trailers, and everybody goes, "Well, what the heck does he do that for?" But it's a pretty good indication of how many tourists we have in town. And on early Sunday morning, there was 102 boat trailers in our 2 lots down there, which is pretty much on par with the same numbers from last year. Lots of the restaurants are doing great. Our Breeze restaurant is open again. A lot of the local businesses are reporting record sales. Just go figure, in May and all the month of June, everybody was going doom and gloom, but actually it turned out pretty good. Finally, we got some cherries out in the market pretty late this year, but so many of the farmers around are just reporting just record yields this year, and good quality product as well, and so those are hitting the marketplace pretty good right now. So I've been out continuing on with my litter pickup project, just a personal thing that I do myself. And over the last couple of weeks, I've noticed a real serious reduction in the amount of litter around town, and I've been kind of trying to figure out what the heck is going on, because usually it's everywhere and tripping all over it and everything, and I'm having a hard time finding any the last little while. And I think I kind of figured it out. A couple of reasons. CAO Romanko alluded to the fact that our public work staff is out cleaning up on the weekends, and you know, how great is that? You know, we've never really done that before, and it's just you know, these are a bunch of people making a positive difference in our community, and I'd like to really, really thank our staff for, you know, reorganizing their lives and getting out and doing this on the weekend. And it really is a testament in how hard work and dedication can really make a difference in our community. And the second thing is, you know, sometimes when you run across people and you witness things in our community, you know, and you see somebody doing something that's so positive, you know, you just got to kind of stand back a little bit and try to think about why people do things in our community. And I had the good fortune of meeting an individual a couple of weeks ago, and you know, Pauline Allison is somebody that, you know, nobody really knows who she is. Kind of think she likes it that way. You know, she's got her life going where she goes out and does things and kind of enjoys living here and that type of thing. Been a resident in Osoyoos since 1986. And every morning at 4:30 she goes down to our gyro park, down to our main beach, drives down there for a good reason. She has some challenges. And goes out and feeds the ducks on the beach and that kind of thing, you know, when the sun's coming up, and it's peaceful and quiet. There's nobody else down there. And I didn't think it was really anything out of the ordinary, but about a month ago I noticed her bending over, you know, with her cane in her hand, and she was walking around on the beach picking up litter. And so I thought, well, that's nice, you know, that's something that I really like to see. But then, you know, the next day I seen her doing it, and the day after that, so it was something that she was doing every day of the week. I was never able to get down there because she'd sweep down there and pick all of the litter up and everything, and there's a lot of nasty stuff after some of the shenanigans that go on down there on a Friday and Saturday night, and certainly during our tour season. There's all kinds of stuff, and, you know, it's not always nice stuff to pick up, but anyway, she was doing it every day. And right after that, she finishes, gets in her vehicle, and she drives down to Cottonwood Park and Cottonwood Drive and does exactly the same thing down there. Nobody has ever asked her to do it, does it all out of the, you know, because she felt, you know, she feels compelled to do it. But anyway, where I'm kind of leading to, I had the privilege of meeting her the other day. In the parking lot at our Bilo store. I just happened to recognize her vehicle, and I went over and introduced myself, and you know, kind of stood there looking at her. I wanted to make sure she was the right person. I was pretty sure it was, and all that kind of thing. And so you know, I thanked her, you know, on behalf of myself and the community, and you know, just a wonderful thing that this person is doing. And I had to know why she was doing it. Like, I really, like, you know, to me it's interesting. So I asked her, and it was incredible. You know, she did one of these kind of looking at me things like I was crazy, you know, like, look around, you know, this is, you know, she's really, really in love with this community. And so I'd like to take this opportunity to pass on a real big thank you to Pauline Allison. She doesn't want anybody to thank her. She's not that kind of person, but I'm going to do it anyway. Sincere gratitude. Really, really appreciate what you do every day.
Thanks, Councillor Rhodes. And I was just wondering, maybe she knew that the beach cleaner was broken down. And thanks, Pauline. We do appreciate that kind of work. Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I know it's a little late that we had graduation at the high school about a month ago, but I wanted to again just thank and congratulate the three young people that received awards from the town. And I was with Mayor Wells, and he handed out one after giving the talk, and then he let me give two out. And so Jordan Conti and Karsten Cody Scholl and Tanner Braithwaite were the recipients of the town's three awards, and they were $750 each. And I was able to receive after that a picture of the two young men that I had given it to, and I appreciated that. And also, we got a nice letter. It came to the town, but I don't know whether it's ever been read, and so I'm gonna read it because I was quite touched by it, having given him the award on behalf of the community. So he says, "Dear Town of Osoyoos, I want to thank you for choosing me to be the recipient of the Town of Osoyoos Scholarship Bursary. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. I appreciate your acknowledgement of my academic efforts thus far. My family is from Calgary, making the University of Calgary a natural choice for me, but I have recently been admitted to the University of British Columbia and have decided to pursue my degree in their Bachelor of Science program there instead. Post-secondary education is going to be expensive for my family and myself. Next year, this bursary will be helpful in paying tuition, food, housing. I promise this bursary will be put to good use next year, and I will continue to strive for and achieve academic success during the completion of my degree. Once again, thank you. If it wasn't for groups such as yourselves, post-secondary education would be very difficult for me." And it's signed, "Sincerely, Tanner Braithwaite." So I thought that was a really nice letter of appreciation to tell us not only about what he's going to do, but also what it means to him. So congratulations to you, Tanner, and to all the graduates, and particularly success to all of you in your chosen fields. I also want to just extend a warm Osoyoos welcome to all our visitors. And I don't know if they're watching. I know during the winter a lot of our visitors do watch. But anyway, a warm welcome to you. We hope that you enjoy our lake, our beaches, our trails, our boat launch, our boat parking, our motels and hotels and resorts, our coffee shops and restaurants, our stores, our weather, and our fruit and our wine. And I hope, especially in light of what we were just hearing from Councillor Rhodes, that you'll be a good citizen and you'll enjoy, but also help us to preserve our community assets by leaving them a little better than they were when you arrived. And in our parks, I would just offer you this little motto that you enjoy, but you don't annoy. So enjoy them, but don't disturb anybody else and take away any of their enjoyment. So I'll just close with one little story. I was away last week. My son and his girlfriend became engaged formally, so that was a happy occasion. And in going to meet some of his girlfriend's family, we went to their little place they have in Algonquin Park, and it was really lovely. But you know, it was interesting when we came back and we saw those hills and that Osoyoos Lake and Okanagan Lake. It was really nice, and I thought, well, it's a little grander than than Algonquin, even though it doesn't have all the paintings about it that they do. But the one thing that I missed being away was I missed the opening of the lagoon to the lake, and I've been straining my brain over the last week figuring out how they're going to keep all the earth from coming back into the lagoon. So if anybody was there and witnessed it, I'd sure like for you to explain to me how they did that.
Will do. Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Cronmiller, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, being the last councillor today, it's a hard act to follow with all of these stories and things. I have to ask Councillor Ryan how the mosquitoes were in Algonquin. I know they're pretty big. And the other thing I noticed when you were giving your presentation, and you had two pictures in your hand, but you kind of hid them behind your computer.
Was it?
No, you should hold them up a little bit and see if.
Yeah, excuse me. I think that I meant to do that, and I know that I saw Val zooming in, but I was too fast for her. Anyway, there they are, two fine young men.
Sure. So those are my updates. Anyway, a couple of things that come to mind. I'd just like to congratulate Joe and Sarah Dixon in the Desert Half Iron, and another successful event in our community. I know they put a lot of time and effort into it. But what I was reading, certainly good participation. Again, this year when we have grand fondos, or whatever they call them, up the valley at the same time. So it's it was a pleasure to see and see all the people come out and try their best. Also, I've heard some comments about the swimming buoys in the water, and I want to assure people that those are really nothing new. They're only marking the areas that are swimming areas that have always been in existence in the lake. We haven't done any new ones. They're just replacing old buoys and identifying and marking swimming areas better than they were in the past. And I know there were some people were commenting that they weren't in appropriate areas, but no, they're all marking legitimate areas that have been there for quite some time. The other thing, a couple other things came to mind when we looked at the Premier's letter on our agenda package here and talked, and she passed it on to other cabinet ministers for them to refer to us, and I'm sitting there going, oh, government just doesn't move very fast. And I thought I should comment on that, because it doesn't a lot of times. When you have to when you create something, or we create it, and we have to send it to a lawyer, or we send it to the province or the federal government for approvals. So it sits on somebody else's desk and then back, and you change something and then it goes back. You know, the back and forth, and that sometimes explains why people are a little impatient with us in government. We're trying to do all those things to make it the best for everyone and the best in our community. It just takes time to get those approvals and get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. Have patience. And sometimes faces change in the Premier's office. That doesn't help either. I comment on that. And then last but not least, I was reading in the paper the other day about one of our staff, and I thought I'd like to mention it. I know that back in May we presented her with a plaque, or not a plaque, but a certificate of her work. And in this article in the paper that I noticed the other day, it was mentioned that she was one of, I think, people in the province, 11 people in the province, to get this certificate, and was commended for it by the minister, Ida Chong, for their work and their diligence and their. So I'd like to just bring attention again to Michelle, our Martineau, our deputy corporate officer, and congratulate her on her work and the recognition that even from the province that she's obtained for her work. And along that line also, I'd like to thank, as Mr. Zackel said, our staff at tax time. They're always, for lack of a better word, taxed to the limit, but they put in a lot of effort and a lot of long hours to sure all those things get done. And I don't know, sometimes we don't thank them enough. So thank you to all our staff for their work. That's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Cronmiller. I don't have all that much from the mayor's desk. I always talk about the Okanagan Lake Water Science Forum coming up in that 18th, 19th, 20th of September. Just an incredible forum dealing with Osoyoos Lake, and it's Washington State and British Columbia. So maybe this will be the grounds where we further discuss chemical abatement of the milfoil problem. But it's really great that for local people, this is $50 for both there's a little wine and cheese reception on the Sunday evening, and the 2 full days of the forum with breakfast and lunches, $50 for the whole shebang for residents of Osoyoos and Oroville. So if you are interested at all, and it's really patterned to play to the non-professional person, to the lay person on the water, what's going on, what's happening with our lake, where we're going with it. Register at the Sonora Center, $50 for the whole shebang. You can't go wrong, and you will really enjoy it and learn an awful lot about what we're doing to maintain what we've got and try to improve what we have. And there will be a limited number of local registrations. So if that number happens to be 30, and I know people that have already registered, don't be the 35th, because there may not be a slot for you. The whole conference is slated for about 200 people. We've invited some of the senior science students from both Orville and from Osoyoos Secondary. So looking like just a great conference. I obviously attended Okanagan Basin Water Board. That was held in Vernon. That's quite a drive to go to Vernon and back and have a meeting in the one day. But well worthwhile, and as you heard me talk about, I guess that letter to Washington State is sort of foremost right now. Met with the area A and C and Town of Oliver folks on the BC Seniors Games, that application that we put in. Certainly moving forward, and in that application there's also the School District 53 offering up all their facilities and venues, things like that. So it would be really neat to pull the towns together and the volunteers together and see if we can land that. Also attended a meeting on Via 97. And this is again Washington State, right through the valley here, looking at promoting Highway 97 as a commerce corridor, commerce, tourism, transportation corridor, and it's been out there for, I think some of these people have been at it for 15 or 20 years. I know Diana Thomas in town here, she's been a big spearhead for that. So it was good for, this was probably about maybe my first or second meeting actually. So it was good to get on there and meet some of the American folks that are involved in it and trying to promote this north-south flow of goods. Just closing out on good news. There's a press release that came out right at noon today, and rural families to benefit from $10 million in emergency care plan. And this was, you've heard me talk about this when the emergency department of South Okanagan General Hospital was, slated to be closed for quite a few days in August, actually. Day shift only, the night shift staying open, and so we went down to see Minister de Jong in Vancouver, actually. Mayor Hampson, myself, and Mark Pendergraft and Alan Patton, again, the regional areas in the town, and we thought we had a successful meeting with Health Minister de Jong. We're there for well over an hour. It seemed like we made progress, but you never really know. You come back and, you just get a letter in the mail saying thanks, but no thanks. Victoria, a new $10 million provincial-wide program will benefit rural communities and support physicians by improving patient access to rural emergency service. Funding of up to $200,000 per year will be provided to groups of rural fee-for-service physicians who commit to work as a team to ensure reliable public access to emergency services at their rural community hospital. Physicians will work with the regional health authority to develop a community-specific plan for how funding might best be applied. Of course, there's quite a bit of other verbiage there, but just a quote from Health Minister Michael de Jong. Rural physicians play a key role in supporting the health of BC families. We recognize that maintaining public access to emergency services, in addition to their office practices, has been difficult for some communities. This new program supports physicians, health authorities to work together to devise comprehensive, community-specific solutions, and reflects our commitment to ensure the provision of health services is looked at through a rural lens. And really, that's what we've been looking for. And be that education or health, I keep saying that there's a rural, you have to look at it from a rural perspective. And having this looked at through this rural lens, this is the kind of results we're getting. While I'm just really, really excited and pleased and saying thank you to ministries. We don't say thank you to ministries very often, but it's a serious problem here affecting all small communities and our recruitment of doctors and retention of doctors. So this is a great step forward. And so looking for a motion to adjourn, Councillor
So moved.
Brian Rhodes, All in favor? Good afternoon, folks. Have a great day.